Greetings. My name is Letitia Hensley, and I'm the Charlotte-Mecklenburg Schools Director of Family and Community Engagement. We are excited that you are joining us today and know you will gain great insight from this session. At the conclusion of today's session, please provide feedback so that we can continue to support you with amazing sessions that will be provided throughout the year. Now, without further ado, we'll turn it over to our presenters.
Good afternoon, CMS families. Thank you so much for joining us for today's Lunch and Learn Assessment Insights, empowering families to support student success. Please sign in using the bit.ly that has been added to today's Q&A. And we are excited to hear from you, families. Please take a moment to shout out your school in the Q&A. And we do have translation supports available on today's call. For translations, please select Captions from the top right-hand corner, then Show Live Captions, and from there select the language of your choosing from the drop-down. Once again, that's going to be Captions and Show Live Captions, and from there, please select the language of your choosing. And we're excited to engage with you today. Please drop any questions in our Q&A feature at the top. You'll see that Q&A button. When you click that button, a text box will appear, and we are happy to monitor and answer those questions during the session. And please react and engage with us during today's session. We are excited to have those wow and aha moments and look forward to that continued collaboration. And at this time, I'm excited to turn it over to our district instructional specialist, Ms. Amanda Smith, who will be sharing more about the assessment insights, empowering our families to support student success with DIBELS and MClass.
Good morning. Thank you, Molly. All right, so today we'll spend time learning about the DIBELS assessment and the MClass parent reports. We'll also explore the assessment, watch a few videos of how each portion is assessed, and then we'll explore the reading you can utilize at home to support your child. Like Molly said, my name is Amanda Smith, and I am one of the EL Elementary Curriculum Specialists. So thanks for inviting me today. All right, so to frame our conversation, I would like to highlight that Charlotte-Mecklenburg Schools values the education of the whole child, and we use a variety of data to assess student progress and set instructional goals that best support the needs of all learners. What is DIBELS? Well, DIBELS is an acronym for Dynamic Indicator of Basic Early Literacy Skills. DIBELS is a universal literacy screener. DIBELS is used by schools to assess key areas of your child's reading development. It's a quick, research-based assessment, and it's designed to measure foundational literacy skills such as recognizing letter sounds, forming letter sounds, reading fluently, and understanding what is read. The purpose of DIBELS is to help teachers identify students who may need extra support in specific areas of reading. And by recognizing potential challenges early, teachers can provide targeted instruction to help your child succeed. So it's important to know that DIBELS is not a comprehensive or diagnostic test. It doesn't give a full picture of a child's reading abilities. Instead, it acts as a tool to monitor progress over time, ensuring the child is on the right track with their reading growth and development. In CMS, kindergarten through third grade students take the DIBELS assessment 3 times per year, once in the fall, once in the winter, and once in the spring. So how do we use DIBELS? Let's talk about that a little bit more. So it is a multi-purpose tool. Teachers do use the information in a variety of ways. The DIBELS results help teachers design targeted instruction to meet the specific needs of students, from remediation to enrichment and enhancements. DIBELS information also helps teachers monitor student progress over time and ensure supports are working as intended. So you might be curious as to what exactly DIBELS measures. So it measures a variety of literacy development skills from letter naming fluency to phoneme segmentation fluency, all the way to reading comprehension. North Carolina requires 2 additional subtests. Those are oral language and vocabulary. These are not included in the composite score for MClass for each student. The chart at the bottom of the screen lists the subtest name or measure and the grade levels in which they are assessed. Please note that 4th grade Read to Achieve students will take the assessments. However, in grades 4 and 5, the assessment really is only for students in need of intervention. And these are students that receive additional reading support outside of the regular reading time. All right, so let's look at these measures and subtests a little bit more deeply. Letter naming fluency is the first one I want us to talk about, and it is measured through a 1-minute assessment given to kindergarten and 1st grade students. Students are presented with a page of upper and lowercase letters arranged in random order, and students are asked to name as many letters as they can within 1 minute. Letter naming fluency is a strong predictor of later reading success. Beyond reading skills, letter naming fluency also offers insights into students' executive functioning and working memory abilities, helping teachers understand how students process and retain information. So we'll watch a small clip of the assessment being administered.
Here are some letters. Tell me the names of as many letters as you can. When I say begin, start here and go across the page. Point to each letter and tell me the name of that letter. If you come to a letter you don't know, I'll tell it to you. Put your finger on the first letter. Ready? Begin.
T N F Y I P D G Y.
All right, so that was a brief snapshot of how that assessment is measured. So let's look at segmentation, phoneme segmentation fluency. So this assessment is given to students in kindergarten and 1st grade. It is a 1-minute assessment in which words are orally presented to the students, and they are asked to verbally produce the individual phonemes or the sounds of that word. For example, a teacher asks what sounds you hear in the word sat, and the student then responds at. Phoneme segmentation fluency offers insights into a student's phonological awareness. And phonological awareness is the ability to recognize and work with the sounds in spoken language. For example, hearing and playing with rhymes, syllables, and individual sounds in words. Here's a brief snapshot of this assessment.
Let's watch Karen assess Lee with phonemic segmentation fluency at the beginning of 1st grade. I'll stop and narrate periodically.
In the word am, tell me any sounds you hear.
So we always start with a practice item, and Mr. Say is telling Karen exactly the instructions to say to administer with fidelity.
Okay, here is your first word. 4.
All right, so that is a brief snapshot of this particular assessment. Now let's look at nonsense word fluency. So the nonsense word fluency subtest is given to students from kindergarten through grade 3. It's a measure of alphabetic principle. So students are presented with nonsense words and are asked to produce either the entire word by reading VOG or the individual sounds such as V, A, G. Nonsense word fluency assesses basic knowledge of letter-sound correspondence without influence from vocabulary or sight word knowledge. This subtest assesses students' understanding of phonics and the ability to apply letter-sound relationships when reading. Okay, so let's listen to her administer the nonsense word fluency assessment.
Look at this word. It's a make-believe word. Watch me read the word. App. Hap. I can say the sounds of the letters app. Or I can read the whole word, hap. Your turn to read a make-believe word. Read this word the best you can. Make sure you say any sounds you know.
Ooh,
That's right. The sounds are or lum.
All right. Now let's move on to word reading fluency. So this is another subtest that is administered in kindergarten through grade 3. It is a 1-minute measure in which students accurately and fluently read lists of grade-appropriate high-incidence words that are out of context. Word reading fluency helps teachers identify students with poor sight word and irregular word reading skills that other subtests often miss. So let's watch a section of this.
Please read from this list of words. Start here and go across the page. When I say begin, point to each word and read it the best you can. If you get stuck, I will tell you the word so you can keep reading. Put your finger on the first word. Ready? Begin.
no, they, is, we.
All right. Our next subtest that we want to look into is the oral reading fluency subtest, and it's required to be administered in grades 1 through 3. Some 4th and 5th grade students may also be assessed on this measure. Students are asked to read a grade level passage for 1 minute. The oral reading fluency assessment provides insight into a child's ability to read text accurately and automatically so they can focus on understanding what they are reading. All right, so let's watch a snippet of this one.
Please read this out loud. If you get stuck, I will tell you the word so you can keep reading. When I say stop, I may ask you to tell me about what you read, so do your best reading. Start here.
Bobby.
Ready? Begin.
Bobby was on his way home from school one day. On his walk, he
All right. Lastly, the DIBELS assessment measures reading comprehension through an assessment called MAZE. Students in grades 2 through 5 participate in the MAZE assessment. The MAZE reading comprehension assessment asks students to read a passage and insert missing words from a bank of choices in order to make the sentences and passage make sense. The MAZE reading comprehension assessment offers insight into reading processes that constitute comprehension through the interpretation of text at the sentence level. The last two subtests that we're going to talk about are the additional subtests I was telling you about that North Carolina requires, but they're not on the MClass platform. The first one is the oral language assessment. So this assessment is designed to evaluate a student's spoken language skills by observing their ability to repeat sentences exactly as they heard them. The oral language assessment is important because it is crucial for identifying potential literacy difficulties early on, and as strong oral language skills are a foundational element for reading and writing. So what would happen is the teacher would say, "My sister's dress is yellow," and the student would be asked to repeat that. They would need to say, "My sister's dress is yellow." Okay? Vocabulary. So the vocabulary assessment assesses students' understanding of important grade level words. The assessment may involve answering yes or no questions, filling in the blanks in sentences, or choosing the best definition of a word from a list of options. Just depends on their grade level. The vocabulary assessment is important because it provides a detailed picture of their current vocabulary knowledge, allowing teachers to identify areas where students need targeted support and tailor instruction to address specific vocabulary gaps, ultimately enhancing their reading comprehension and overall language skills. And we can watch just a snippet of this.
This video walks you through an MClass vocabulary assessment. Depending on the student's grade, they complete 1, 2, or 3 tasks. The first of these tasks is the 2 questions vocabulary measure. Students are asked 2 different yes or no questions about each stimulus word. On the model screen, the OWL instructs by clicking thumbs up for yes or thumbs down for no. The OWL reads the question for students in kindergarten and grade 1. Students in grades 2 and 3 read the question themselves.
All right, so that just gives you a picture of the vocab assessment. All right, so when considering a student's DIBELS scores, when you get your student's DIBELS scores home, there are 2 very important things to remember. First, assessment outcomes are just a snapshot of a moment in time. No single assessment or data point tells the whole story of a child's educational journey. We have to focus on trends over time, not just a single score. Secondly, we have to remember that we are chasing a moving target. So DIBELS benchmarks are moving targets. They change throughout the school year to align with the growing expectation of reading proficiency over time. Each assessment reflects the increasing complexity of skills students are expected to develop. So a score that is at benchmark at the beginning of the year may not meet benchmark later. This ensures that the scores provide an accurate picture of whether a student is progressing toward end of the year goals. Today, we're also talking about MClass and the parent reports, right? DIBELS, that's our assessment, amplifies the platform. DIBELS is the dynamic indicators assessment, right? And MClass is the computer platform designed to support the assessment. It provides teachers with the ability to administer DIBELS assessments electronically, generating immediate results. It also offers instructional recommendations for teachers. In addition, MClass supports parent-teacher communication through the creation of family-friendly parent reports called Home Connect reports. These reports are sent home to parents after each benchmark administration. So let's review a sample of the MClass Home Connect report so that you'll be more familiar with it when you get your report home from your student. At the top right corner of the page, you'll find the student's name, grade level, and the date the assessment was administered. In this section, you'll see an explanation of why the student was assessed and what the results mean. It also indicates whether the student is meeting the benchmark expectations for that time of year. On the right side of the report, there's a circle containing a number. This is the student's composite score. The composite score represents the overall performance calculated from the combined results of all those subtests that we just talked about. Well, below the composite score, you'll notice a colorful bar. This bar serves as a key to interpret the scores below. The bar is divided into 4 sections. So the blue section indicates that the student is performing above benchmark on the subtest. Green indicates that the student is performing at benchmark. Yellow represents below benchmark, indicating that the student needs support in this area. And red represents well below benchmark, signaling that the student requires significant support. Underneath the gray portion of this page, you see the subtests broken down individually. You'll notice a brief description of each subtest, what it looks like or sounds like for your child, and then on the right-hand side, where their scores fell on the colored bar. Let's look a little more closely at the report. This report shows us that the student met benchmark on letter names. He was also assessed on phonemic awareness and scored above benchmark on that subtest as well. In addition, he was assessed in decoding, fluency, and oral language. Those scores and descriptions are included as well. This is a first grade report. Students in grades above first grade may include results for other subtests such as MAZE. The second page of the Parent Home Connect report offers suggested activities identified for your child based on his or her literacy profile. So these engaging at-home games and activities are designed to support and reinforce the specific skills your child is currently learning. At the bottom of the page, you'll also notice a section that says, "For more activities, visit the Home Connect site," and a link is provided. This link takes you to the MClass Home Connect webpage. The webpage looks like this and offers additional activities and a broader assortment of activities that you may want to try at home. All right, so let's look at some more additional resources that you can use at home to support your child. So let's look at kindergarten first. All right, so I would like to introduce you to a resource to support nonsense word fluency, or the blending of sounds to make a word. For kindergarten at home, you can use Decodable Readers. Okay, Decodable Reader is a simple book designed for beginning readers that primarily contains words they can sound out or blend using the phonics skills they've already learned, meaning most words in the book are made up of letter sounds they've been taught, allowing them to decode words by applying their phonics knowledge. Here's what the Decodable Reader looks like. And when reading at home with your child, you can follow these 3 steps. On the first read, let your child read and decode or sound out the words. On the second read, you can read along with your child to model fluency. On the third read, let your child read the decodable again to you. Each time your child reads the Decodable Reader, his or her fluency will increase. Your child may revisit this story as often as you would like. Another resource that can be used to support nonsense word fluency and blending are these phonics speed drills. Remember, the goal for students to read or blend whole words fluently, that's the goal. And this resource is also used for first graders. So if you have a first grader, you will want to listen in. So let me walk you through how to use this resource at home. So for the phonics speed drills, you're going to read the first step is read the words as a practice. Support your child with identifying correct letter sounds and blending the sounds together to read the words. And then you want them to go back and reread. You can set a timer for 1 minute to see how many words your child can read fluently in 1 minute, and then count the words. And then the next time you come back and have them reread, set the timer again, or you can just reread the words and then support your child in identifying the correct letter sounds and blending the sounds together to read the words fluently. And then as you reread for the third time, you can set the timer. And then they can compare the third read and how many words they read to the words per minute that they read in the second read. And their goal is 31 correct letter sounds, okay, for kindergarten. That's the end of the year goal. All right. All right, so now let's look at first grade. First graders also need practice with nonsense word fluency. So this resource we just talked about for kindergarten can also be used for first graders. And in first grade, their goal is 55 correct letter sounds at the end of the year, or they need to be able to read 15 whole words in a minute. So this is a great practice for them for home. To support oral reading fluency, remember that's where we saw the little boy read the passage. Students can practice reading using fluency passages. And this resource can be used in second grade as well. So if you have a second grader, listen in. The difference for second grade will only be the goal, and we'll talk about that in a bit. But for first grade, you can pull out a fluency passage. These passages are aligned to the topic that your child will be learning in school. So your child will read the passage, time them for a minute, record the number of words read. Then, as the parent, you can go back in and model fluent reading of the passage. Then let your child practice reading the passage again, and while they're reading, you are providing feedback and error corrections. So then by the next read, when the student rereads the passage, they're striving to meet grade level benchmark goal, which for first grade is 39 words by the end of the year. And the parent reading for 1 minute and records the number of words read. And you can do this multiple times in a day. You can do it once or twice today and then pull the same passage out tomorrow and keep revisiting. There's also a couple comprehension questions included that you can ask as well. All right, let's look at second grade. So same for them. The resource that supports nonsense word fluency is the phonics speed drill. But you can see here that for second grade, the goal is 76 correct letter sounds by the end of the year, or 22 whole words in a minute by the end of the year. Okay. And then for oral reading fluency, their goal is 94 words per minute by the end of the year. All right, so these resources can be, I'll give you a link to them in just a little bit, but also you may be able to reach out to your child's teacher, especially for the decodable readers, because they'll be using them in class and they would be able to bring them home. All right, so those are just some resources that will support. You'll definitely want to check out the CMS Family Portal for the resources, and click on the Elementary Learning Resources button, and it will take you to each grade level page. You may also get to the grade level resources by using the bit.ly on this slide here. I'm going to give you a minute to jot it down. bit.ly /pre-K12 family resources 2526, and you have to copy it down and type it in exactly as it's written. But if I were to click on first grade resources or type in the bit.ly, oops, sorry, it would take me directly to the decodable readers and the fluency passages and the phonics speed drills for each grade level. Okay. All right. Well, I hope that you learned a lot. I hope that once you get your students' MClass family report sent home, that maybe it'll make a little more sense to you. I think that there's a video on the Family Resources page if you need to go back and rewatch that portion of the video just to refresh your memory with each section and what it's for. Feel free to do that. But that concludes my time with you all, and thank you for spending your time with me. All right.
Thank you so much, CMS families, for joining us today. If you have any questions, feel free to include those in our Q&A at this time. We have a few remaining minutes that we can answer. Additionally, if you have not had the opportunity, please sign into today's session using the bit.ly that is in the Q&A. And we have the slide deck for today within the Q&A as well. That way you're able to see all of those wonderful videos, access all of that great information that was shared, and be able to follow any of those links and resources that were highlighted. Additionally, if you would like to access the video in the future, we will have it within our Family Academy on demand. we do have a quick question. Where are the decodables again? So what I will do is put that link in the Q&A for our families to easily be able to click. Once you follow the resources, and would you like to display any of those real quick, Amanda?
Sure. Yep. I'll be happy to. I'm going to actually copy the bit.ly and get in here so that we can see. All right, so if I click on first grade, once I go to that bit.ly, it will take me to the oral reading fluency passages and the speed drills. So the decodable readers, those should be coming home, with your students after they have read them at school. Is that?
Thank you.
Yeah.
Great information. Our next question is, how about the third grade level?
Yes. About like what do we have there for them? Is that what we're asking?
Yes.
Okay. So for third grade, there's actually several things here. So I want to click on grades 3 through 5. And then I want to go to the Learning at Home resources by standards, grade 3. And then once I get here, you're going to see, let me see if I can make it bigger. You're going to see that this guide has information about English language arts, math, and science. It also gives parents some information about the MVPA assessment and then how to use the resources. So if I go to the ELA resources, I can see here that there are resources by standard, so 3.1, 3.2. And then also it tells us what the standard is, and it gives a little blurb about how families can help at home and some example questions for that particular standard. There are also some practice resources here.
Thank you so much. Great information for how to find resources by grade level. One piece of clarification from the Q&A, the DIBELS assessment. Amanda, what grade levels are assessed using this platform?
Yes, so K1, 2, and 3 are required to take the assessment. Fourth grade students who are Read to Achieve, if they have a reading retained label, if they didn't pass if they didn't pass the third grade EOG in reading, then they will be given this assessment throughout the year as teachers give them targeted instruction to ensure that they continue to get better and better with their reading skills and comprehension. So.
Perfect. Thank you so much. So if I have a fourth grade student who is still on this assessment, should I refer to the third grade resources?
Yes, you can. I would stick with the fourth grade, these particular resources, because these are the grade level resources. But you could actually have them practice reading some of the fluency passages that even were in the second and third grade folders.
Thank you. Families, at this time, I believe we have answered all questions within the Q&A. Thank you so much for logging in and engaging with us for today's session. And thank you to Amanda for having such a comprehensive overview. If you would like to review the slide deck, please feel free to use the bit.ly that is shared at the top of the Q&A. And the recording of today's session will be added to the Family Academy On Demand portal. I hope that everyone has a safe and wonderful rest of their week, and we look forward to seeing you next week. Have a wonderful day.